Morning, guys and girls. Just want to make sure everybody can hear me. I'm not on my regular setup. I'm still visiting my parents for the next few days. So I just have my laptop. Just want to make sure we can see screen and hear me loud and clear. Can somebody just confirm with a 1 in the chat that everything is visible on GJ as well as able to hear me? Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Who we got in here today? Awesome. So I'm not going to do a case study today. I'm going to talk a little bit more just about a trade plan, just for a few minutes, really. I'm not going to get crazy into it. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like upon sign up, like we kind of provide a roadmap to getting you into like very high probability intraday, intra-week setups is obviously the idea. So just want to talk a little bit about the mechanics of like how we actually build these things out, why they're built the way that they're built. So as an educator, the way that we've sort of outlined the trade plan that we provide and ultimately practice day in, day out in the market is designed around more of just a mechanical feel and being able to get you from objective A to objective B, whether that be selecting a POI or understanding higher time frame order flow or structure mapping or whatever it might be. So one of the things that I think is super important is that just because you're involved with a community, regardless of whether it's myself with Fractal Markets, whether it's Phantom, whoever it really is, just because they give you a roadmap doesn't mean there's not other ways to get to that same sort of destination or the same sort of trade idea. So my advice to really anybody who's involved with us specifically is that it's meant to be that foundational piece of like, okay, objective A to objective B is this, B to C, D to E, et cetera, et cetera. But the bottom line is that there's going to be these smaller things that are going to need to be accounted for in a trading plan. A lot of people like the idea of a flowchart modeling system because if they know where they sit in the modeling system, it becomes very easy to just kind of, even if you have it printed out beside you or on an iPad beside your desk, whatever it might be, you can quite literally just trace out the path that you're on and understand where you're sitting in the market and what confirmations would essentially be needed to kind of catapult you forward into potentially getting into a trade idea. So the things we don't cover, and often the most overlooked component of trading is the emotional side, right? The whole psychological aspect of X amount of losses or X amount of wins or X amount of break evens, X amount of trades in general. So I think we might even possibly do a series on this in our foundation series when the site is actually officially launched. And it's super important to cover the aspects of your emotional side. Like for me personally, one of my toxic habits, at least again on a personal level, my toxic habits kind of vary, and I find I go through phases of each of them and how to mitigate these and be able to understand yourself as a trader. You need to have some sort of a plan in place. So catching tops, ego-driven trades, it's really simple. Like the plan is designed, we're not looking to catch tops. We're looking to get involved with areas that prove to essentially have a confirmation of sorts, being able to get you involved in very high probability areas. So the other thing is the plan doesn't provide 100% strike rate. If I'm being honest, oftentimes in the markets, I'm sitting around, I would say anywhere from 30 to about 45% strike rate. And that doesn't mean full TP. That just means quite literally getting into a trade where I don't take a -1 R. So it can be a very daunting task getting involved with a very high RR position, but understanding and having that deeper understanding of yourself and how you act and react in specific scenarios is ultimately what's going to kind of expedite your learning curve in the market, right? And also the learning curve with yourself and understanding how you act in the market, because we're not algos, we're not computers, we're not machines, we're emotional beings at the end of the day. And yeah, like I said, often the most overlooked component of trading is and has been is the emotional side, right? And it usually has to do with how you manage your losses. And for me personally, one of the biggest things that I have issues with is that if I have a huge win, just for example, when I had my E8 payout or my E8 payout, I came super close to losing my account the next week, just because I came off a big high, came off a big win, and I couldn't catch a trade to save my life, right? You're just fueling yourself into all of the hard work you put forth to be able to essentially get this monumental step sort of ticked off with this bigger payout and really proving to yourself that you can do something. And then, yeah, like I said, the week after, I think I took one win and like 4 losses or 5 losses. So bottom line is you need to have plan or some sort of a contingency plan or an insurance plan with yourself to be able to protect not only your assets but your mental well-being while in trading. So all this to say, what we provide and the reason we provide what we provide is because it's a very black and white sort of dried out version of like, okay, here's the mechanics behind how we should be getting involved in a trade idea. Now, again, everybody's a little bit different. So one thing that I have in my trade plan, but again, having it in your trade plan and having it beside your desk and like actually ticking it off are two different things. Typically, and again, I say this typically, I will not allow myself to take more than 3 positions per day. So if we have a trade idea that frames up twice a week, there's a maximum of 6 trades that I'm allowing myself to get involved in to be able to actually capitalize on the move that I'm anticipating. So how do you train yourself to shut off the screen, right? And push yourself away? And to be honest with you, there's no direct correlation between how to do it and why you should do it. It's very, very simple. When you build case studies, you do back testing, you trade demo. You trade demo as if it's a real account, and you don't trade just to see if the click, 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 and hope to God that you hit something. Like, you need to understand that these case study building sessions are they're exercises, right? They're meant to sort of spike something in your memory to reassociate how you got involved in a trade, right? And understand why it was able to happen. And then furthermore, back testing that same case study and actually feeling out what it would feel like to see candles printing. All of this is meant to do is to be able to get you in that psychological state of knowing that, okay, I don't need to win every trade. I need to trade my plan out, and I need to know when to shut it off, right? So when you back test and when you build case studies, you should be mapping out every single component that would entice you into a trade, so that you can really start to understand who you are as a trader. And again, all this ties in with your trade plan. It ties in with ultimately how you're acting in the market, because the reason people make money and the reason people lose money are based off of 2 very foundational emotions in the market, and that's fear and greed. So understanding those 2 things and how they can cohesively work together is super, super important. So for me to tell you guys how to design a trade plan, it's almost impossible, because no true trade plans are going to look the same in terms of how you've made this contract with yourself, because that's essentially what you're doing. You're literally making a vow to yourself that, you know what, if the worst of the worst happens right now, and everything takes a shit, which there's going to be days, there's going to be weeks that are like that as well. How are you dealing with it, right? How are you dealing with the traumatic experience of potentially losing maybe a funded account, or losing a challenge, or whatever it is. And every time that stuff like this happens, again, this opens up another door to essentially learn about who you are as a trader, who you are as a person. And any time that there's a quote unquote failure that's sort of incurred within the parameters of trading, it's an opportunity for you to kind of reflect on what it is that you've done first and foremost, whether or not you've made a mistake. Oftentimes, you know what? It's not even a mistake. It's just something that you've made a decision on. And it's about how you sort of pull yourself through that. So every time that you've, incurred this, XYZ traumatic loss, detrimental week, whatever it is, what are you doing for yourself to be able to not only cope with it, but be okay with it, and then be able to move forward and not have that linger into how you make your next decisions in the market? I've mentioned this to anybody who's done a masterclass with me. We've had several lessons on this, but one of my biggest things for me to be able to get involved with trading on a daily basis is I have a morning regimen that I stick to. So it's wake up, have a coffee, go down, check the charts, see where my POIs are sitting, and the first thing I do before I'm even able to click the button to enter a position, I need to go to the gym. That's my first thing. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean it needs to resonate with everybody, but having these strict rules, this regiment to get you into your day, whether it be journaling, learning a little bit more about yourself, having a gratitude journal, whatever it is. The trading plans are so much more than here's a top-down flow chart. Here's a POI selection flowchart. Are those vital components? Of course they are. But the thing is you can only follow a plan for so long before it needs to be fine-tuned to actually understand who you are as a trader, who you are as a person, et cetera, et cetera. So I just wanted to share some light, or shed some light on that rather, so that you guys are understanding that it's not just getting involved in a trade, it's how you cope with all of these emotions if and when you have a big winner, if and when you have a big loser. And again, for me personally, I'm just talking loosely about this because I want you to understand that it's not all sunshines and rainbows. When it's good, it's really good. When it's bad, it doesn't need to be really bad. That's the whole thing here. So no one trade is going to change your life. But I'll tell you what, a series of losses off of a really bad trade idea and you not knowing how to cope with your emotions could potentially leave you in a position where you want to hang up the towel for the rest of your trade career because you don't believe that it's possible to make money. Drop a 1 in the comments if you resonate with that, or if you've ever resonated with that. It's very easy. It's very, very easy to want to give up on something when you don't have a contingency plan, right? And again, I don't have this big PDF of like how to build a trading plan because, quite frankly, it's such a personal endeavor to be able to map something. You have to really be real with yourself. You have to level with yourself, and next time you take an L or take a big win or take a big whatever it is, or you had a blow up with, maybe a family member or a friend or spouse, whatever it is, partner, start to weigh that into how you make decisions day to day with when it comes to trading, especially because obviously the main component of this entire program is trading, but you'll start to see how all of these things really start to tie in together, and having any sort of emotional stability or self-awareness is going to be, it's such a foundational piece in this entire puzzle, and it's often the most overlooked one. So really, you know what, I don't want to even get into too much further than that. I think that's probably a good piece of the pie to kind of chew on for this week. And I'll just loosely assign, maybe like a homework assignment for yourself. And you don't have to do it. Nobody's going to check. I don't really give a shit if you do it, to be honest with you. Ultimately, you want to do something bad enough and you want to be involved with, being a trader full time, put forth the effort. I can give you the pieces, but you got to put them together. So I would say something that you guys should really consider. There's only like 13 or 14 of you guys, I think, in here right now, 13. So do yourself a favor. This week, before we get into this, drop a 1 if you're with me and a 2 if you're not. Most of you guys probably have a pretty good handle on what it is that we do in terms of top-down analysis with the PDFs that have been provided. Drop a 1 if you're with me, and a 2 if you're just maybe not quite there. So in the case that most of you guys have the mechanics, so James, you're probably on your way. Justin, you're probably on your way. The bottom line is that if you're in a position, once you are in a position where you're starting to understand the mechanics of the strategy a little bit more, ultimately, you have to start asking yourself the questions of, okay, I get the strategy. I know how to implement it day to day, but I'm not making money. Where is the weak link? More often than not, it's a pretty it's a pretty traumatic look inwards to who you are as a person, how you live your life day to day, and you have to create a recipe for success, and that recipe can only be designed by you. And that recipe will essentially be better and better the more real you end up being with yourself and how you deal with your emotions, not even while you're on screen, but how you deal with stuff in your day-to-day life. Are you volatile? Do you find yourself looking for constant approval? Do you like all of these things tie in together, right? You're defining your personality, and your personality is going to be a reflection of how you trade. So I don't know if you guys fuck with anything I just said, and quite frankly, it's all good if you don't. But this is something that we should probably talk about a little bit more, and just the nitty gritty of like what trading is, right? And it's not just clicking buttons and drawing lines on a chart or drawing boxes. It's how you kind of cope with the emotional side of all aspects of trading. So I hope you guys took some value from this. I know that's only a quick 20-minute segment on, just like an intro to building out a trade plan and how it ties in with ultimately everything that you do in your life. So maybe what I'll do is once a month or once every 3 weeks. I don't know if you guys would take value from that, but if we did maybe a seminar on how, all I can do is show you how I'm building mine out from week to week, day to day, whatever it is. And then maybe once a month, I can show you the progression of mine to possibly show you what you guys can be doing to do it yourself. Drop a 1 if that would be valuable, and a 2 if you just don't see that as something that would help you guys. And that's cool if you don't agree, but I think it's something that we should probably get into, is just the more personal side of things. And it's tough. Trading's a tough thing, and I'm literally just sitting on my floor right now in my parents' den with my laptop sitting on the couch and just kind of sitting here thinking about how overlooked this entire topic is. And I think it'd be super valuable to be able to kind of talk about this more with a community aspect in mind, and just little habits that you can build throughout your day-to-day life to be able to get you in the driver's seat of your emotions. Cool. So that's pretty well all I'm going to touch on for the trade plan component. And again, just to kind of recap on this, you'll notice that like there's not a lot of talk about the actual technical side, because the technicals is easy. You can go to any community and get technicals, right? Go to Phantom, go to Mint, Hustle, anywhere, right? And these guys it's really easy to have a good trade plan when it comes to the mechanics. It's really quite simple to design something. You build like 10 case studies in a row around reversals. It's the easiest spot to look, right? What do you look for? Well, what do you look for? First thing you want to see is some form of a sweep, a pullback into the 50% range, right? We already have a trade plan for it, right? So when you start looking at that and you say, okay, well, what's the fucking problem? Why am I missing out? What am I doing wrong? And it's usually directly correlated with your emotional state, whether or not you're FOMOing in, feeling fear, feeling greed, whatever it might be. So anyways, all that to say, I think we're going to touch on this a little bit more often, and maybe we'll do like a monthly kind of check-in with all the members. We'll do that on like a Sunday, tied in with our forecasting call. But yeah, anybody who's here, I think one of the things you should look to do might sound corny, maybe it's not. One thing that's really helped me is having a 5-minute journal. I don't know if anybody's heard of that, but it's just a gratitude journal. It takes about 30 seconds to fill it out every day. Basically, punch in 3 things you're grateful for, 3 good things that you think would help your day, 3 good things that actually happen throughout your day, and then having some sort of a oh my god, what do you call that? An affirmation. Sounds kind of corny. I know we're primarily a bunch of guys sitting in here, probably big egos, whatever it might be, but little stuff like that goes a long way, right? And it's not these big drastic things that are going to help. It's the small things that you can do every day that are going to slowly change your mental ability to be able to cope with specific things that happen in your day-to-day life. So that's it. So if you guys want to check that out, 5-minute journal, it's been super helpful for me, at least, especially over the course of the last 18 months. Just get to know yourself, right? Get to know who you are as a person. And sometimes it's tough to look inwards, but it's the only way that you're going to actually progress with this. Cool. Let's have a quick peek at what's going on for this week. Everybody satisfied with that component, at least? I just want to, any questions, by the way? Any questions at all about just that, like the importance of really having a plan on the emotional front as well? If not, I'll basically just jump into the forecasting. Like I said, I'm not going to do a case study building session. We've been doing tons and tons of them. And I want to start getting into more of the nitty gritty stuff. We're still going to do tons of case studies. I want to start getting into a little bit more back testing of our case studies. We're, like I said, and I've been saying, like we're in like a restructuring just in terms of how we want to deliver content. And I don't want to just keep doing the same things. I know the same things work, but there's more that we can kind of expand on to maybe just see it through a different lens and have different aha moments or light bulb moments for different traders within the community. So cool. If there's no questions, we'll just jump in. What if you get an alert into a very nice POI and you are not ready to trade yet? Well, and it's a good question, man. If you're not ready to trade yet, for whatever reason, goes into your POI, it's really simple. You don't have to trade, man. Like, you know what I mean? I think a lot of people put so much pressure on themselves that when a POI gets hit, let's say you're not available, you're not emotionally available to be on the screen, or you're just physically not able to be on the chart for whatever reason. I think a lot of people just they don't realize that trade can play out to an absolute T. It runs 100R. You're not involved. And this is where oftentimes a lot of people get themselves caught up in their emotions, chasing the trade on the way down and then back on the way up or whatever it might be. There's no one trade that you're going to take in your trading career, as long as you want to actually be a trader and be a consistent trader, that's ever going to change your life. There's not going to be one. There's not, if you miss out on one single trade and you think that it's going to be detrimental to your success as a trader, as a person, as a human being in the market, it's you're already behind the curve, right? And that's where that transition comes in with really just understanding that trades can run. You can understand where the trade is framing up. You can look at it and you can say, you know what, this is exactly where I want to see this happen. Whatever it is, and not be involved with it. And when you have enough inner peace to just say, you know what, I didn't get involved with this, but had I been, I would have been bang on with the money. It's all perspective, right? It's all understanding that, like, you know what, the next trade, I know it's such a fucking lame thing to say, but the next trade is always around the corner, right? The next move is always coming. And building these case studies, the way that we've set up like the entire infrastructure of our education platform is to continuously show you that if you miss something, it's not going to matter, right? We're ultimately after how we can consistently approach the market. And just remember, you are not trading to you are trading to live. You are not living to trade. You know what I mean? Because that fine line between a 9 to 5 sort of attitude towards trading and actually adopting that freedom lifestyle that trading does provide, all of these things tied together can really, really fuck up your success in the market. So remember why you started in the first place. It's not because you wanted to be glued to a screen for 18 hours a day waiting for a POI to get hit once it does, looking for criteria. It's quite literally because if you set yourself up properly and you have the skill set to be able to actually get involved in proper trades, guess what? It's really fucking simple. You only need 1 or 2 trades per month. If you miss one because you're out to dinner with loved ones, you're on vacation, you're at an appointment, whatever the fuck it is, it doesn't matter. That's the point. That's the whole thing, right? You're able to do what you want, and you shouldn't do it at the expense of your mental health. I feel like a therapist right now. I hope this is like useful to kind of talk about out in the open. And I feel like we definitely don't do it enough as a group. And it's something I really want to get into a lot more. Yeah, don't beat yourself up, man. Like, it's not a big thing. As you guys know, trades present all the time, especially now that we're monitoring the majors. And that's kind of the whole reason why I'm getting into like this kind of different, like build an actual watch list, be able to understand where these very high time frame POIs are. Because usually with a higher time frame POI, you're going to get like 5 different entries, right, that you can possibly get involved in. Once in a while, these things lift the spirit up. Good. I mean, we're just trying to keep it as real as possible, right? Like we talk a lot about oh my god, about a lot of the glamour side of things, and yeah, not enough times you ask yourself how you're doing and how you're sort of feeling about trading, and how your emotions play into all this shit, right? So I know it's kind of corny. I know it's sometimes kind of difficult to talk about, but yeah, it's a necessary thing to talk about. At least in my opinion, it's crazy how much value it can bring into not only your trading but just your day-to-day sort of stuff. Any other questions, guys, just about this? Yeah, I mean, don't put me on a pedestal either. This is all stuff that we all think about. I think everybody can kind of resonate with that to a certain degree. But yeah, this is just also understanding that it doesn't need to always be okay, but it's how you deal with when it's not okay. That's ultimately going to set you apart from who you used to be, right? Yeah, so we're working on a psychology series as well. Like I said, man, we have so much stuff, so much ground to cover that it's just going to take a while to get content out, right? Like we can't do it all. And one of the not that you guys need to know, but I'll talking pretty loosely. One of the things I really value about what we do is that I'm the person that does it all, right? Like I'm the guy that's at the forefront of this business and this company, if you want to call it that. And yeah, I want to make sure that people are resonating with the brand, right? And I've sort of established myself as what the brand is, and I don't want to have new people come on. I want it to feel like, you guys are involved with who I am, right? And not so much just having a bunch of different content from different people within a community. So all that to say, it just takes some time to get these things out. We have, like I said, tons of plans to be able to get all these different things, but it's all going to come in due time. So appreciate the patience. And I think what I'll do just moving forward is maybe we'll schedule in like once a month, just exactly when we're going to do this, and just kind of have like a more loose and laid back conversation that's not so much revolving around the dynamics of a chart or whatever it is, a trade idea, because yeah, I think this is equally as important personally. So not only for you guys but for me as well. It's good to get these things out and just kind of level with people. Okay, any questions, guys, to kind of finish that off? If not, we'll get into some of the higher time frame stuff. Oh my goodness, come on. bear with me, guys. My mouse is giving me a hard time. What's happening here? Why won't that drag? Okay, so let's take this off and we'll go like this, go to the 4. I just want to go out to the daily. Cool. So we're just going to talk about the majors again, guys. So just FYI, I'm just going to minimize the chat so I have some more room. Like I said, I'm using my laptop, which is not super ideal, but that's what I have right this second. Start with EU. So EU is just like, yeah, it's just been melting off a cliff, right? I mean, it's no real surprise here. So personally, I have a really hard time over the course of like the last couple months playing these sort of pullback phases. And I find where I take 90%, 80% probably, 80% of my fucking losses are playing counter trend pullbacks. I find them so difficult to read. I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't like what I find is that if the market is doing this, and I just made a reel on this, I'm sure most of you guys saw it on IG, but like, man, I'm cool to wait until this happens. You know, I'm not trying to fucking figure out where to play the pullback into and like all the like I can wait. So that's like another reason why I like started doing the watch list kind of style is to get myself trading alongside higher time frame narrative, and just staying involved with what the market's already doing as opposed to trying to guess where it's going to go. And I find when I trade counter trend, there's a lot more guesswork involved with it. I don't know if anybody else resonates with that, but yeah. Anyways, long story short, my areas of interest are very simple. I mean, we got a demand to supply flip that happens here, and then we have an extreme that sits here. Arguably, the only two places that really want to be trading with EU over the course of the next little bit are going to be up in here. Can we play this once we get the order flow realignment, all that kind of stuff, levels to take? Of course we can. But for me personally, and again, just the way that I like to trade now is just a little bit more conservative. Like it's trade with the money, man. You know, let order flow realign like this entire leg right here. I think there's like 20 days in here. This was a really this is so tough on my psychology, this entire thing, this entire last push. And the reason why is because I wanted to short from here. I wanted to short from here. I wanted to believe this was going to roll over, right? And then by the time I had realized what was happening and we were just taking out this level of liquidity, and this was actually the area that we were going to come up and mitigate, it was fucking too late. You know what I mean? It was just like one of those things where like I was on the wrong side of the market. It felt like for 2 weeks and I just didn't know what I felt like. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use exactly what we use every day with our liquidity concepts. And I'm going to say, okay, well, ultimately we've got 2 spots. We've got the extreme, right? And we've got the flip. Until we come up into these, I'm not interested in the EU. I'm not trying to guess where the bottom is. I'm not trying to guess where this counter trend complex pullback is going to start. That's not what I want to do personally. What I want to do is watch order flow realign, very similar to what it happened over here. Look for this and then look for continuations to take out swing structure lows. That's it. There's like one trade a month, like one big trade idea around this per month. And that's all I really want to focus on moving forward. You guys fuck with that or no? As long as we have a bunch of pairs, I would much rather monitor higher time frame POIs to get alongside what the money's already doing, to be able to not have to guess and fuck around with counter trend pullbacks and stuff like that. That's just my my idea, at least. Yeah, that's. Can you still play these? Yes, you can. The model is designed so that you can, because it's really only utilizing 4-hour structure and 15-minute order flow. Higher time frame is like, yeah, I mean, essentially daily trend, a 4-hour order flow. Yeah, like, I mean, you can use a weekly too, but it's very simple to see what's going on, right? Like we're on a daily, like that's all the info I need. We're in a downtrend. We've just broken swing structure, right? Just broken swing structure, just broken swing structure. What's the next move? It's easy. We're going to pull back, right? Then we're going to look for it to realign. We're still going to be looking for trades in here, here, here. We might not get these to hit swing structure lows, but we're going to get involved as if they will, right? Cool. Okay, let's go over to GU. Same thing. Same thing, right? So we've had to break a structure. We've had to break a structure. We've got levels to take. How clear is that? Am I crazy, or wouldn't it be so much easier to just fucking wait? We can start to let order flow establish and then play that into the level if you wanted to. That's fine too. But the bottom line is if you just wait for the levels, where are the levels right now? Right? There's this one. That's really it. That's levels of liquidity to take into here. We might sweep up into this buy to sell, possibly above it, and then drop, right? There's two spots. Keep it simple. Everybody's so scared to wait. Me too, by the way. Aussie dollar. Okay, daily. What do we got? Same thing. What are you expecting to happen here? Probably a pullback. Probably take out liquidity, then drop down, right? It's easy stuff. Easy to see. Just gotta wait. GJ. What's going on with GJ? Same thing, right? Bullish trend right now. Fails to create new high, right? Little details, easy to see. Let me like this, right? Fails to create, comes back down, fails to create again. We got liquidity now building. What do we need to do in order to come after this liquidity? Probably take it from somewhere, right? Like this, right? Doesn't mean I'm right, but it's easy to suspect these things, right? So anyways, just be mindful of this while you're moving forward, while we're moving forward through the week. I'm not really setting out higher time frame POIs for this specific session because I just want to show you where these higher time frame moves could come from, right? And understanding how long they would take. USD JPY, very bullish, very, very bullish. Have we seen a daily order flow shift? Not yet, but now we're coming up into this region right here, right? We've pushed down, we failed to create, come in, we have liquidity to take, possibly something to target after. So ideally, we're going to want to see that get taken out of the market. Build your narrative around that. USD CAD, you know, same shit. Look at this. Can't make it up, right? Fails to create the high, fails to create the high, liquidity underneath the low. Once we hit the low, probably do something like that, right? It's easy stuff, man. Higher time frame bullish order flow, right? Starting to move through, liquidate. You know, once we break the low, we maybe start to look. Till then, nothing to look at. Euro JPY doesn't mean there's not intraday stuff, right? It just means that the higher probability stuff is going to come from the levels that I'm marking out. My computer is frozen. Stop that for a sec. Two seconds, guys. Okay, so I'm just going to share TradingView again. Can you guys see TradingView right now? Okay, cool. Sorry about that. For some reason, my TradingView is not working. It stopped at USD CAD. There's only Euro JPY and XAU USD left. The internet is a little bit patchy. I'm in a smaller town and I don't think they have fiber or anything like that. So if it's cool with you guys, I'm probably just going to leave this how it is. You have a good idea of what the next plays on Euro, GBP, AUD, GJ. Like we're entering pullback phases against higher time frame order flow, against higher time frame trend. So it's really simple. Let order flow realign, look for levels to, like, ultimately we want to be able to watch for levels to be able to take from the market. Yeah, see, I can't even draw on my chart right now. Let 4-hour order flow establish itself. Look for levels to take into extremes. Once we get into those extremes, do the same thing on the lower time frame and just keep moving. Same thing. Or if you're patient, just wait for the actual setups to actually happen at the higher time frame POIs to basically ride trend the way that it's already intended to go. So that's it, man. I'm not going to actually record these POIs or anything like that. Understanding what the next move in the market is a lot more important to just keep you on the right side of it. And then throughout the week, we'll start looking into the POIs, higher time frame areas that we would look to trade from, and we'll move forward as a community that way. Everybody good with today's webinar? Any questions? Thanks, Badsley. Yeah. Yeah, we're very blessed. Both of our parents have homes on the lake, and yeah, it's been an awesome trip. My girlfriend just left to drive back to our place this morning, and I'm gonna fly back in a few days. So cool, guys. Yep, feel free to reach out anytime, as you guys know. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow around 12 o'clock for the trade recap. And we're going to start implementing our new, what do you call it? Our new schedule, probably the week after. We'll have like a big meeting about it within the group. We're going to just scale out of, instead of having daily trade recaps, what we're going to do is kind of combine all of the different trades that we take throughout the first 2-3 days of the week. We'll do a Wednesday recap, we'll do a Friday recap, we'll do a projection and forecasting / watch list building on Sundays. Yeah, I want to give you guys a chance to kind of, feel things out on your own, not so much not even spoon fed, because that's not the case. It's just, it gives everybody some room to breathe, really be able to decipher what they looked at in the market. I'll post up my trades every single day, similar to what Nick had mentioned last week in the live trading session. He said maybe just box out an area where there is a trade that's set up, assign some homework, maybe we'll incentivize some homework, all that kind of fun stuff. So we're trying to do the best we can to be able to make this as enjoyable as possible. So I think it's important to force people to do annotations. You're correct. Oh, another thing that we're going to be doing, and Dave's going to probably get this done, I'm thinking early this week, is he's going to create an SOP on how to actually post a case study as well as an end of day markup. It'll get you in the rhythm of like what is exactly needed to kind of look at what needs to be annotated, what needs to be drawn in, and it also helps us too if we want to post your case study. We're all kind of adopting the same mannerisms to be able to post them in the exact same way that everybody else does in the community. So watch out for that this week too. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. Hopefully this was enjoyable. Yeah, if you took value from it, great. And yeah, hopefully we'll start doing these. Like I said, ideally, I'd like to do these once a month where we just have a little bit more of like a loose conversation about these things and just psychology and how people are actually doing, and try to grow as a community in every way that we can. So without further ado, I am out of here, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. I won't be on Discord for the rest of the day, guys. So if there's any questions or anything like that, the Afonso and Coda will likely be around to kind of dabble with your questions. I won't be on the charts until tomorrow. So yeah, have a good rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys tomorrow sometime.